Welcome to another FPL video ahead of Game Week 22. There's been so many videos, there's been such a length of time between Game Weeks 21 and 22, but Game Week 21 is finally over. Now we can focus fully on Double Game Week 22, and a lot is still uncertain. A lot of people are unsure whether to bench boost, whether to free hit, or to take hits. I'm going to be talking about the most likely transfer plans for myself, but I'm still not completely decided yet, and a lot depends on the final team news we do get. So I'm going to do a brief recap of Game Week 21 because we've already done that in the last team selection video, and then move on to my team selection and my transfer plan. So let's get straight into the video. Overall, I got 81 points, but I took a -4, so that means my total is 77. I've gone up to around 69k and 1,330 points. It's not too bad, I'll take it. And thankfully, I picked the right captain with Jarrod Bowen, who got a brace. Also had a goal disallowed. And then meanwhile, Mikel Antonio did blank against Norwich, but still good performances from both of them. I'm very happy. But at the same time, you know, that is a big swing between the two. So those of you who did captain Antonio, obviously it's a bit unlucky. Antonio could have scored himself against Norwich. And to be honest, I was actually fearing Antonio in the Norwich game, and I thought he could outscore Bowen, but it ended up going the opposite way I expected. And also, I was very close to taking a -4 hit in the very last seconds for Vladimir Coufal, who I believe was the best West Ham defender. He got an assist, some bonus points, and a clean sheet against Norwich. But long term, I'm not a big fan of West Ham defenders, so I'm still quite happy not to have taken that plunge. And I probably would have benched Alonso in order to put Coufal into the team. And with the -4 also factored in, I wouldn't have made that many more points if I'm being honest. So I'm quite happy with how my team turned out. De Gea in goal, blanking once again. And he was very close to getting 8 points. So a bonus point, a clean sheet, and also a save point. But it wasn't meant to be. And United's defence, I mean, I already knew what I was getting into, but I still took the plunge nonetheless. I'm still quite happy having De Gea heading into the double game week. And then my defenders, Cancelo blanking, Trent getting an assist, and Alonso with a clean sheet. So in the end, I did pick the right defenders, but it doesn't really mean much in the grand scheme of things, because if I had picked Livramento, he didn't play, and Alonso would have come off my bench anyway. So maybe a bit disappointed that that good decision that I made there didn't actually pay off in a way, because a lot of people did get Alonso off their bench. But, you know, sometimes these things happen, and Livramento has been struggling with this injury for quite a few weeks now. Then we've got Mohamed Salah, a nice goal before he goes to the African Cup of Nations, and it looks like Egypt could actually be knocked out quite early. If that's the case, then Salah could be back very soon, and definitely you'd be expecting him back for the Leicester game in Game Week 24. So let's see how things pan out there. I would like to keep Salah ideally, but at the same time, he is 13 million, and if I want to avoid using the free hit, Salah is probably the cash cow that I need to sell. I can always bring him back in a few weeks' time, but that probably would mean I would have to take some hits along the way. Then we have Demarai Gray and Calvert-Lewin. I talked about them before. Very disappointing, especially with the fact that the second game against Leicester got postponed. But there's not much you can do about these things. And sometimes, you know, you take these gambles, you take these maybe calculated risks. Sometimes they don't pay off. Sometimes they do. But at the same time, Everton, they're not a great team. And maybe it wasn't a great decision to double up with them anyway. But I didn't expect one of their games to be cancelled, and I think one attacker was the right choice to make, and in the end it didn't really pay off. Then Jarrod Bowen and Antonio, once again very happy with them. Jota with an assist, so that Chelsea-Liverpool game gave me points from everywhere really, so I was very happy with that, and probably the best game of Game Week 21 for me personally. And then Dennis blanking, coming off early with a knock, but he should be fine now ahead of Game Week 22. He was in training, and yeah, he should be fine. He should be a really good captaincy option even. So if you don't have Ronaldo or Kane, maybe Dennis is the next one you want to be looking at for the captaincy. And some people, even with all three of those players in their team, they're actually going for the Nigerian. So that could actually make for interesting reading. He's got a nice set of double game week fixtures. I think Dennis is one of the best captaincy options this week. And then looking at my bench, Foden, unfortunately, I actually started him, but I already kind of knew that he probably wasn't going to start against Arsenal. He should be back in time for Game Week 22. Livramento, let's wait and see. There's no guarantee that he's going to be back. And as for Reece James, he's probably out for the next month or two, as reported by various media outlets. And then Ramsdale blanking against City. And to be honest, maybe a bit lucky there, because Arsenal were very good in that game and probably should have won the game with a clean sheet. But things turned out differently. And there you go, that's my Game Week 21 review. Happy for the most part. 77's a decent score, nothing spectacular, and it's just about enough to give me a small green arrow. So now let's talk about Game Week 22 and my updated transfer plans and team selection. I don't have much choice in terms of who to start and who to bench, because so many players are doubtful or definitely missing, like Salah and Reece James. In terms of Dennis, Foden and Trent, who are all flagged in my starting 11, they should all be fine. Trent is back in training, and he could actually start against Arsenal in the Carabao Cup tonight. With Trent and Foden, both of them returned late positive tests, but it was actually a week or two ago, so they should be fine in time for Game Week 22. I would have no issues or concerns about them. And then as for Dennis, he was pictured in training also, and he only had like a tight problem and was feeling uncomfortable during the match, and that's why Claudio Ranieri took him off. And looking at the rest of the team, it's actually pretty good, but not too many double game week players, and a free hit would definitely improve that exponentially. But is it really worth a free hit this week? I'm not too sure. Even those players you're looking to bring in like Maddison, they're doubtful. Even Cristiano Ronaldo, he's another one who's doubtful. Having said that, if I were to make normal transfers, they are two players that I definitely have an eye on. But looking at the grand scheme of things, there's too many postponements that could happen, like with Leicester. You look at the amount of doubts across the board, and also the fixtures for most of these teams aren't anything special. I think there will be better double game weeks ahead, especially when there's a major double game week, maybe around game week 35 or 36. We'll wait and see what happens there. And also in terms of the free hit, you can use that to navigate blank game weeks. Game week 30 is going to be a blank game week, and the only confirmed fixture right now for game week 30 is Arsenal versus Aston Villa because of the FA Cup. Both teams are knocked out, so any of these teams that are knocked out of the FA Cup, that could have a big impact on game week 30 and which teams will blank or which teams will actually play in that game week. For most people who ask, should I use the free hit? I think it's just a question of, do you really think you need to? And obviously that's quite a hard question to answer sometimes, but you don't have to free hit. That's the way I see it in most cases. I think most people can get away with not using it and maybe saving it for later on in the season where there should be more clarity, fewer postponements, and also you can use it very strategically and use the chips in a structured way and get the best out of all of those chips available as well as your squad. But looking at Game Week 22, if I can help it, I will try to not use the chip and save it for later on. But otherwise, you know, it might be a late free hit activated tomorrow. But once again, the team news that we do get from today and tomorrow will play a big part in what my final decision is going to be. Looking at my team overall, it's not too bad, but only De Gea, Alonso and Dennis are double game weekers in my team. The rest only have single game weeks. You look at Cancelo and Foden, not a great single game week fixture in Chelsea. And then you look at Calvert-Lewin and Gray, a nice promising fixture against Norwich, but I just don't trust Everton, to be honest. Trent and Jota could do very well against Brentford, who have been very poor recently and even lost 4-1 to Southampton. So things are definitely not looking too rosy there. And then Bowen and Antonio at home to Leeds. I'd actually like to keep them for a free hit, especially Jarrod Bowen. Antonio would be one that I wouldn't have on a free hit, but I'm happy to have in my normal team anyway long term. So looking at the team, it's not too bad. It's probably similar to a lot of these teams flying about, but at the same time, in terms of targeting this double game week, right now things aren't looking too good. So I'm prepared to take a -4 or a -8 hit to improve things. And if you remember, my transfer plans before were very different, but more injury news has altered my plans, and now I have to actually adapt and make new ones. With what you see on screen, this would be a -8 hit, but all of these players are pretty much doubtful, especially Cristiano Ronaldo and Reguilon even, who aren't really flagged, especially Maddison and Reguilon, but they all have these problems. So Reguilon will be coming in for Reece James, so I'd finally be getting rid of the Chelsea fullback. I'd also get Maddison in for Salah, and that would give me enough funds to get Cristiano Ronaldo in for Calvert-Lewin. Now, there are problems with all of these plans. With Reguilon, he's been out of the squad in the last few games, so who knows what his fitness is like, and it's not looking too promising right now. You look at James Maddison, he should be fine, but then will Leicester actually have a double? Will they have yet another game postponed? Who knows? You know, that's right up in the air, and that might be something that we find out after the deadline, which is obviously not ideal. And then with Cristiano Ronaldo, he was left out of Manchester United's FA Cup squad against Aston Villa, who they're going to face next in the Premier League. And Ralf Rangnick said that he does have some issues, and we'll wait and see if he's available. I think most people are optimistic that Ronaldo will be fit in time for Game Week 22, and I think he will be. But once again, I don't want to just make these transfers right now, because you never know what we get in the next day or two. We might get some more news, whether it's by official sources or maybe inside information. We'll wait and see. But this -8 wouldn't look too bad, but I actually might have to look at alternatives to Reguilon, for example, maybe Cucurella or a few others. But these plans can still alternate. I could still play the free hit, and they would resemble the best free hit teams that I've been making in the past few videos. But at the same time, there could be some alterations there because of more further injury news that we do get, or anything else. For example, my original plan was to get Reguilon and Son in for Salah and also Reece James, but things have changed completely now, and I have to look at a premium striker instead, because there's just not really a premium midfielder that I'd want to look at. There is De Bruyne and Raheem Sterling, but they only have a single game week fixture against Chelsea. So I think this would look pretty good, getting Maddison and Ronaldo in. I could always, in 2 game weeks time when Salah returns or whenever he does, I can bring Salah back in and then sell Ronaldo to an Ollie Watkins or another striker. But things can change so easily. And with Reguilon, I'm actually the most concerned about him, and I don't think he will actually be in my final squad come game week 22. But if he is fit and available and there are no issues, I'd actually like to have some Spurs coverage. The one thing I would say against that though is that Spurs' fixtures are really poor after game week 22, and even the fixtures in 22 aren't great from a defensive point of view. And then you look at Cucurella, he has a blank in game week 24 because they were supposed to play Chelsea while going off to the Club World Cup. So there's so many different things to consider. Cash could have a double game week in 23. You have Burnley who could have another double game week on top of the game week 22 double game week in 23 because they still have 3 games that are yet to be rescheduled. So there's so much to wrap our heads around. So we'll have to wait and see until the deadline. I want to leave it as late as possible and then I can make the most informed and best decision possible. But thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, smash the like button and subscribe if you're new. What are you going to be doing in game week 22? And honestly, I'm going to try to be open-minded and leave as many options available as possible. But in the end, you know, what I say right now could easily change by tomorrow and vice versa. We'll just have to wait and see. So much can happen, and we've been getting news for the last few weeks, which has definitely altered our plans significantly, and we've always had to make new plans, new drafts, and also make new chip strategies in some ways. But I want to be quite concise with the chip strategy. If possible, I want to leave those free hits for blank and double game week, such as game week 30, and also the triple captain for a smaller double game week, which we should get plenty of because of the record number of postponements this season, and also a bench boost in a major double game week. And I know this is one, and I was originally actually planning to use a bench boost because I was looking pretty well poised for that, but things have changed, the postponements and all of that, and the injuries have actually shifted me towards possibly a free hit or just normal transfers and hits. And the bench boost is something I'd want to use probably in game week 35 or 36, whenever that double game week is going to be, which would be a major one and even bigger than game week 22 ever was. But thank you very much for watching. You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram, Dylan_RCM, and also join the Discord server. The link is in the description below. The same goes for the FPL League, which you can still join. And there is a UCL Fantasy League and more content coming for that soon. So stay tuned. Good luck with game week 22. Let's see what it has in store for us, and it should be a good one. And I'll see you next time.